Guys, I'm just waiting for Facebook to come in.
Right.
Now it just takes a minute. Okay, everybody, welcome to an episode of Change Starts With Us Ohio. Today we have Jerry McMeans, who spent over 31 years in prison for a crime he did not commit. The Innocence Project helped him get a parole, and now hopefully they'll exonerate him in the future. Jerry, what year did you get locked up?
It was 1989. February of 1989.
Right. And I kind of remember you from Warren, from working in the law library.
Yeah.
Because I would go up there and pretend I was doing something, but I never did. I always had somebody else that was kind of helping me out.
Yeah.
So when did the Innocence Project start working on your case?
About 8 years ago. It took them about 8 years to finally get anything done.
So they were dedicated.
Oh, yeah. They worked hard on it.
And you probably wouldn't have gotten out if they did not get involved in helping.
Oh, no. If it wasn't for the Innocence Project, I'd have died in prison for sure.
But how old are you today?
I'm 85. I'll be 86 in another month.
Wow. And he still gets around good. He drives. Today he's here to help sign Christmas cards. Because we know a lot of people inside of prison just don't get a letter or a card throughout the year. And it's nice to be able to bring a smile on people's faces if we are able to. What is the next step now? Since the Innocence Project helped you get out through a parole, now what is the next step for them? Do you have any idea?
No, not really. They're just trying to get me exonerated. There was no evidence against me when I got convicted. It was just
hearsay,
an accusation from my stepdaughter, and that was it. There was no DNA. There was no witness saying, yes, we've seen anything happen. It was just her accusation alone, and they know, and it's on record, that she has falsely accused 5 or 6 other people of the same thing.
Right. And that happens more than people want to believe, too. A lot of people say, well, if somebody accuses you of rape, you're automatically guilty. And our judicial system looks at it. I remember I was in a courtroom one time, and a judge told me, don't ever come in front of me with a sex charge. So they're going to find you guilty without even giving you a fair hearing. Hi, everyone. People deserve to have a fair hearing, and they're supposed to be innocent until proven guilty. But it's kind of the other way, at least in Ohio.
Yes, it is. And if you don't have money to hire a top-of-the-line attorney, they'll appoint you an attorney. But the attorney they give you is so overloaded with cases that he doesn't have time to work on your case and really do anything right for you. He just get you through court just so you have an attorney, and that's it.
Well, the prosecutor from Franklin County, Ron O'Brien, did not oppose your release, which kind of means that he may believe maybe nothing did happen.
Oh, yeah. Otherwise, he would have opposed it for sure.
Right, because I have never heard him doing what you said.
Yeah.
I'm sure he has, but the prosecutor sometimes just wants to get a notch on the belt.
Well, yeah.
And a conviction instead of the right person.
Well, I think most prosecutors would like to move up to be a judge at some time. And when they run for a position as judge, they run on a record of convictions. And so the more convictions they get, the better they are when they run for a judge's job.
Well, I know you've inspired all of us for Change Starts With Us Ohio. I did 25 years, and I was wrongfully convicted. I committed a crime, just not what I was convicted of. And you showed up to one of our protests now for the Christmas signing, and you're almost 86 years old, and you're really getting around great.
Yeah, I do good, yeah.
That had to be, all God doing all that. I'm a firm believer. We are faith-based, our organization. And I wouldn't have made it that long if I didn't put my trust in God.
Yeah.
So it's kind of interesting hearing the stories from some of the people that we work with, including Jerry. I've never have been able to talk to someone that did that much time that was actually innocent.
The people that have not been involved in the legal system they don't think there's any innocent people in prison. They assume if you went to prison, you must be guilty. But they've done study after study, and they say that between 2 and 5% of people in prison are innocent. And 2% or 5% don't sound like a lot until you're talking about over 2 million people. And that makes a whole lot of people.
Even the 48,000 we have in Ohio.
Yeah,
it adds up.
Yeah.
And I bet there's a couple thousand innocent in Ohio.
Oh, there got to be.
If not more.
Yeah.
And then probably 8,000 to 9,000 that are wrongfully convicted because they want to up your charge to make it sick you do more time.
Well, exactly. Before I went to court, they offered me a sentence of 8 to 15 years if I would plead guilty. I knew I was not guilty, and I refused to plead guilty. So instead of getting 8 to 15 years, I ended up with 5 life sentences.
Wow! And that's what you went to prison.
Yeah, and if you have a life sentence when you're in prison, it's very rare to get out the first time you see the parole board. I went there with 5 life sentences, and the first time I seen the parole board, they gave me a parole. But that was because the Innocence Project had worked on my case and pretty much proved that I was innocent. The state would rather give me a parole rather than say, yeah, he's innocent, let's let him go. If they say I'm innocent, then they got to pay me some big bucks, and they'd rather not do that.
Right, and it is sad on our system. There's so much that needs to change. We need parole reform. That's really a big must. We need a judicial reform all the way from the courts to the system so people can get a fair chance.
Yeah.
And that's one thing we're going to probably work on in the future because we want to see those that are locked up to have a fair chance. And if they're actually innocent, we'd love to see them out on appeal bond.
Yeah.
That's and of course you need a bond reform because the Eighth Amendment says, nothing. I forget exactly the wording, but bond should not be more than a person can afford.
Exactly, and they'll put your bond so high. I think my bond was $2 million.
Yeah, mine was $2,000.
I was a working man. I've worked hard all my life, done construction work, but there's no way you can come up with any $2 million for a bond.
No, even if it's 10%,
exactly,
it would be tough.
Yeah, and they know that when they give you that high bond, they do it to keep you in prison and or in jail where you're waiting to go to prison.
Well, I think we'll make some headways in the next couple of years and see some changes taking place. But we need people to stand with us and be open-minded and learn about the system instead of thinking it's the greatest system around, because it's not.
Well, exactly. And people never know when they might be caught up in the system.
Right.
I worked hard all my life. Never in the world thought I would be in prison.
You can be accused of something. A woman could brush against you, or you brush against a woman in the store.
Yeah.
You're going to prison.
Yeah.
Because they're going to believe them.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's.
And it's not that we don't believe people should be held accountable. We do. But the right people, and then when they have done a certain amount of time and they're rehabilitated, send them home as well.
Exactly. Yeah. That's the prison system has it's become a place to put people to work, I think. Ohio has 31 prisons, and I don't have no idea how many people are working in prisons, but a lot of them were built in rural areas, and there is no other work other than the prison. So
and for those sentenced before 1996, for everybody actually, it's $27,000 a year to house them.
Yeah.
But the older you get, and the oldest guy we have under the old law is 94 years old. You're talking about a couple $100 million. Actually, $100 million. They said, I don't know if it's over a year or what period. I just read a report on that. But you figure the medical problems that you get when you get older, and just the care of the elderly, it's expensive and ridiculous. And you, the taxpayers, are paying for people to be locked up that should not be locked up anymore.
Exactly, and that's when people reach a certain age, move them out of the prison, move them, if nothing else, into a rest home. But
right. And depending what the charge is, there's only like one nursing home that would accept certain people, and you need 3 or 4, actually more than that, to accept our people coming out of prison.
exactly, that's
Where abuse doesn't take place, because
Yeah.
we've read horror stories on some of the state nursing homes.
well, a lot of people when they get out of prison, if they've been there so many years, or their families are all passed away, they have no place to go, and they've got to depend on the state to take care of them even after they get out of prison.
Right. Well, I think the first start would be to vote our governor out of office. I personally hold him responsible for all the deaths of those behind bars. When he was told to start releasing people, his idea of release was 100 people.
Yeah.
And he said, nobody down on murder, nobody down on a sex case. You know, you talk about people that served 30, 40, one guy I know was 50 years.
Yeah.
Send them home, save the state money.
Yeah. Yeah, there's so many people in there in prisons now that they don't need to be there. They may have committed a crime. They may have done something in a fit of passion or whatever. But, you know, after so many years, send them people home. It don't make sense to keep them in there 40 or 50 years.
Candace, you're watching again. Yeah. Candace is watching this, and she doesn't even have her phone out. I see her little face there. Hi, Jerry. Hi, everybody. This is Jerry McMeans. He spent 31 years in prison for a crime he did not commit. The Innocence Project helped him get out, and now they are working on trying to get him exonerated. The state doesn't like to pay money, so they don't like to exonerate people. It's all about the dollar bill.
Yeah, exactly.
And you talk about 31 years is quite a bit of money. Jerry told me he would take me out for coffee. So
yeah, really. Buy a coffee shop.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'd be there all day during my coffee.
Yeah.
But Jerry deserves some happiness now. This is his first Christmas. He's been out, what, 5 months?
About 7 months.
About 7 months now. And it's really an honor to have Jerry in my house doing a video. And, you know, Jerry showed up, I think it was a couple months after he got out at one of our protests. You know, he got his license first, though.
Yeah.
You know, he drove down here, and, you know, today he drove here as well. He's a dedicated person. Okay, everybody, we thank you for joining us today, and thank you, Jerry.
Yes, I'm
glad
to be here.
We'll have you back on again someday.
That's good. And we're done.
Yeah.